The night I told my son I had stage 4 cancer, he didn't cry. He didn't even blink. He just grabbed his car keys, threw a duffel bag over his shoulder, and said, "I'm not your nurse, Dad. Don't die too slow." The door clicked shut. That sound, softer than a heartbeat, shattered me more than the tumors in my lungs. For 72 hours, I waited to disappear, praying the cancer would finish me before the loneliness did. But fate had other plans, because when he came back 14 months later, it wasn't to apologize. It wasn't to see if I was alive. It was to ask for my bone marrow, the one thing that could save his child. And that's when I realized my body wasn't dying anymore. It was loading bullets. Long before cancer, I was just a father trying to stay useful. My wife passed 8 winters ago. Pancreatic cancer, same as mine. Quick, cruel, and quiet, like a thief that steals everything while you sleep. After her funeral, my son moved back in, said it was temporary. So did my grief. It lasted 6 years. 6 years of babysitting his boy, cooking dinner most nights, even covering the mortgage the month his truck got repossessed. I even paid off his wife's nursing school loans. Ironic, I know. I thought we were rebuilding something. We weren't. We were just surviving under the same roof. He stopped calling me Dad somewhere around year 3. I brushed it off. Grief does strange things. Then came the scan, the kind where the doctor won't look you in the eye. Stage 4, metastatic. I remember thinking, at least now I have a reason to feel this tired. What I didn't expect, what I couldn't have imagined, was that telling my son would be the part that nearly killed me. You already know what he said. You already know what he did. But here's what you don't know. The night he walked out, he didn't just leave me with cancer. He left me with silence. And sometimes silence is where the sharpest things grow, because what came next wasn't a funeral. It was a resurrection. If you're still with me, take a second to subscribe and drop a comment. Tell me where you're listening from. Now let's keep going. I wasn't expecting a grand gesture. I wasn't expecting tears, but I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd sit with me for 5 minutes. Instead, he stood in the doorway like I was contagious, wouldn't even set his bag down. "I'm not your nurse, Dad. Don't die too slow." And with that, he was gone. No hug, no look back, just the sound of his car backing down the driveway while the porch light flickered above me like it was trying to apologize. For 3 days, I didn't move. I drank stale water from a mug I couldn't remember washing. I left the pills on the counter, untouched. The pain was easier than feeling nothing. The only thing louder than the silence was the thought that maybe I deserved it. Maybe I had failed him somehow, failed as a father, failed as a man. But cancer is funny. It doesn't kill you all at once. It chips away, quietly. On the 4th morning, I finally stood up. My legs didn't shake, my hands didn't tremble, but something inside me had cracked so deeply, I knew I'd never be the same. That was the moment I stopped asking why he left and started asking what I would do, now that he had. Because when someone abandons you at your worst, they're not just walking away. They're handing you permission to never let them back in. And I intended to use it. After he left, I didn't just lose a son. I lost the last person I thought might carry my name into something meaningful. So I disappeared. Not physically. I still made my doctor's appointments, paid bills, ate toast that tasted like cardboard. But I stopped existing in the ways that matter. I was a ghost with a pulse. Until one day, the phone rang. It was Martha, my neighbor. She was 80, half blind, and mean as vinegar, but she heard through the grapevine what had happened. "You're not dead yet," she said, "so stop acting like it." Then she told me about a cancer support group at the library, Thursdays at 7. I didn't want to go, but I owed her a favor. Years ago, I'd shoveled her driveway during a blizzard. Apparently, favors have long shelf lives. That night, I sat in a folding chair between a woman who wore glittery scarves and a retired Marine with a colostomy bag. We didn't cry. We talked. We laughed. And for the first time in months, I remembered I used to be someone. By the third meeting, I pulled out my old laptop, blew the dust off. I started tinkering with my old coding files, bits of finance scripts, risk calculators, things I'd once built for hedge funds. Turns out, cancer didn't just strip me down. It made space, and in that space, something sharp started growing back. 14 months. That's how long it had been since I'd heard his voice. By then, the cancer had stabilized. My channel had grown, anonymous finance tips for people drowning in medical debt. Turns out, despair is a good algorithm. I had followers, a little money trickling in, a reason to wake up. Then came the knock. I opened the door, and there he was. Same duffel bag, same tired eyes, but something was different. He looked smaller somehow, like life had chipped away at his edges too. "Hey, Dad," he said, like we'd spoken yesterday. I stood there for a beat too long, not angry, just calculating what version of me he expected to find. And then I stepped aside. He didn't sit, didn't compliment the house, just paced. Finally, he said it. "I need your help. I'm in a custody battle. I might lose my son." The words hit me like static, faint, buzzing, hard to hold on to. "I need to refinance the house. I can't get the loan on my own. I need your name on it." There it was. Not an apology, not a hug, just a favor, dressed in panic, stripped of shame. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I asked one thing. "Can I meet him?" He blinked. "What?" "Your son," I said. "The one you might lose. Let me meet him." He hesitated, just long enough for me to know the answer wasn't simple. And right then, I realized he wasn't just here for money. He was here because something had gone terribly wrong. The next day, I told him to come back, said I'd think about the loan. He showed up late, like someone trying to delay a sentence. I made coffee. He didn't drink it. He sat stiff on the edge of the couch while I pretended to scroll emails. Then I slid the small black USB across the table. "What's that?" he asked. "It's a recording," I said. "From the night you left." He blinked. "You recorded me?" "I recorded myself," I said. "I was trying to send a voice memo to my oncologist. I'd just gotten the diagnosis. I was scared, alone. I hit record before you walked in." I didn't push play. I didn't have to. He stared at it like it could singe everything he rebuilt in silence. But his silence told me everything. He remembered. The bag, the keys, the words. "I'm not your nurse, Dad. Don't die too slow." "I thought I deleted that version of me," he finally whispered. I looked him in the eye for the first time in hours. We don't get to delete the worst parts. We carry them until we do something better. He nodded, but the nod was hollow. Then I added, "I didn't bring you here to shame you. I brought you here so you'd remember what walking away sounds like." He didn't speak again, just stared at his hands like they'd betrayed someone. And then I said the words he wasn't expecting. "I'll help you, but I'm not signing anything yet." He looked up, confused. "Then what do you want?" I took a breath. "I want a week with your son. Just me and him. No lawyers, no tension. Let him decide if I'm worth knowing." And in that moment, he looked more afraid of that than of losing custody, which told me everything I needed to know. He brought the boy over on a Sunday. Quiet kid, 7, maybe 8, wore a hoodie 2 sizes too big and held a Lego minifig like it was armor. I didn't push. I just asked if he wanted grilled cheese. He nodded. We spent the afternoon playing chess with mismatched pieces. I let him win the first game. He earned the second. By the third day, he called me Pop. And that's when I knew. My son had never told him about me. Not the good, not the bad, just nothing. So that night, after the boy had gone to sleep, I sat across from my son at the kitchen table. Same spot, same chair, same wood grain between us, where he once told me to die slow. But this time, I asked the questions. Did you tell him his grandfather didn't die? He was erased? Silence. Did you tell him you left me with stage 4 cancer and a couch full of unpaid bills? He looked away. You want my name on a loan, but you erased me from yours. Still nothing. So I leaned in. You want him to know about showing up? Start by showing him where you didn't. His voice cracked. You think I'm proud of what I did? No, I said. But you act like I'm supposed to forget it just because you're ashamed of it. He didn't have a comeback, just rubbed his eyes and exhaled like guilt had weight. Then I said the one thing that hit hardest. You didn't just leave your father that night. You taught your son how to disappear. And for the first time, I saw it. Not shame, but fear. Fear that he'd already passed the curse on. We never did sign the loan papers. He didn't bring it up again. After our talk, something shifted. Not just in him, but in me too. For years, I thought my diagnosis was a death sentence, a countdown, a loss. But now, I see it for what it really was, a scalpel. It cut through the noise, the fantasy, the version of family I had begged to hold together. And in that bleeding silence, I found something sharper than anger, clarity. I stopped trying to be someone's father. I started being someone's example. Being a father requires presence. Being an example requires conviction, not out of pride, not out of spite, out of purpose. Last week, his son, my grandson, sent me a drawing. It was a stick figure on a bike with a speech bubble that said, Pop says, keep going. I framed it because the truth is, I didn't beat cancer, not fully, but I beat what it tried to make me believe, that I was alone, that I was forgotten, that I was finished. They always say illness changes you. What they don't say is that sometimes it sharpens you. And when the world thinks you're breaking, that's when you become your most dangerous. And that is how I learned to live unafraid.